Hello, hello, and welcome to another ForeBros podcast episode. It's different now. You got
Little bit.
me, and you got old Matty J
Oh,
is
Matty
here.
J. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
Andy
Brian,
is.
so
No, you're not Brian. Andy is still not with us. Brian couldn't be here. Andy is coming, guys. If you are Andy fans, I promise you, Andy is coming. He will be here on an episode before you know it. But he is not here. Brian is doing some traveling, so he's not here. So you got the original podcasting duo. You got
yes.
myself, Matty J, and so we are back in our element, back doing our thing. Got a lot of things to go over in this episode, and so stick with us. Should be a good one. The first thing that we want to talk about, I want to clarify some things from our last episode. Matt was not with us hosting it, but he did watch it and he did listen to it. We got some feedback from some of you in this podcast on that last episode when we were talking about our own golf games. Now, let me just clarify something. Number one, I was not calling anybody out in particular. So if those of you that texted me or texted Brian or reached out to any of the ForeBros anyway, we were not calling anybody out or singling anybody out. But number two, however, the way we play golf, and for those of you that are just now listening for the first time, so myself, Matt, Brian, and Andy, we play what we believe is the correct way to play golf. I know it can be very tempting and it can be very easy to hit a ball out of bounds or to, hit a ball on a hazard or, whatever, lose a ball,
Breakfast
whatever. That
ball
happens
off
a
the
lot.
first tee.
Yeah, breakfast ball, first tee. I mean, we play as straight up can get. You hit the ball out of bounds, or if you hit the ball in the hazard, you if you can play it, great. If not, you pull it out from point of entry, and that's one stroke. So if you hit it in, that's it's one in, two out. You're hitting your third shot.
Correct.
Hitting three. If you hit the ball out of bounds, this is the game changer for everybody. A lot of people play out of bounds like they would a hazard, where you just, it's one in, just pull it out, hit your third shot. Some don't even do that. They just hit their second shot. But how the rules are stated, and Brian touched on this in our last episode, is you have two options. You can either hit three off the tee, like the pros do, which is, kind of taking that provisional or hitting that, shot again off the tee, but that's your third shot, or which is kind of like the to help speed up the game. You can go to where your ball is if you find it out of bounds and go parallel to the closest fairway, and you are now hitting four. So regardless, you're hitting four, whether you hit three off the tee, then hit your four shot from down there, or you hit four from the original drive into the fairway. So that has, again, we've had some people that come and play with us, and they play that. Since we've done that for us, and let me also say too, we don't do any gimmies. That is a brutal one, because you hear a lot of guys, oh man, I shot this score, I shot that score, but they don't putt. Like how many times, Matt, have we sat there and watched other groups around us, and they're just picking up their golf ball, and they're like 10, 15 feet away from the hole.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, that's good.
100%. And the chances are, you go and you actually make them putt it, they may make it 1 out of 15 times. 1 out of 15, if even that.
Exactly.
You hear a lot on the golf course. That's good. No, I'll pick it up. Oh, yeah, you got it. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If we could play gimmies, dude, my score just went through the roof. Like, I'm about to start beating the brakes off of people, because you give me 15 footers, you know. But at the same time, you give me a 3-footer, chances are I'm probably not even going to make that one. So it definitely changes. And the thing is, like, I remember, because, for a while, we too actually kind of played that same way, where we were kind of playing like a hazard. And it wasn't really until we started kind of getting competitive, we really started looking. And I remember the first time I read the rule, kind of for the first time, I'd known the rules. Working at a golf course and things like that, I kind of knew the rules, but actually reading them, and I remember that day, it just felt like somebody punched me in the stomach, because it was like, golly. Because and here's the thing. It is a penalty for a reason. You are supposed to feel penalized. And you do. If you walk down there and you find your ball, and I think for me, the hardest thing is when you hit a ball and it's a foot out of bounds. I'm talking a foot.
Oh, I know.
It's the rule. And so you want to be able to just, I can hit it. Great. Yeah, you can hit it, but it's not a legal ball. To take it over there, drop it, and now you're on your fourth shot is just, it hurts so bad. But rules are rules.
Yeah. But Yeah, for us though, we started doing that, I don't know, probably 6 to 8 months ago. Really,
Yeah,
like you said, once we really started getting competitive and playing, trying to, beat each other every single Wednesday when we play, and trying to have the lowest score because we don't do any give me's and we play that way of golf. I will say people, I get it. For those of you that want to just go out and have a good time and not take yourself seriously and go do it, go do that. That's great. That's
absolutely,
fun. But
absolutely,
for me though, I think I've enjoyed the way that we play because it's only going to help me be a better golfer because what I can do is, those first couple rounds we started playing like that. I mean, I was shooting like high 90s, even in the 100s, but I was able to go back and look and go, wow, all right, well, I did hit this ball out of bounds. I hit my 4 shot from the fairway and I had to scramble to try to make
yeah.
double. And so those shots add up, but I think it's helped me. I don't know about you if you've liked it, or I don't know if it helps you or hurts you, if you've enjoyed it or not.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it, golf's tough anyway. I mean, it's a
Yeah.
game. It's a game kind of like tennis that should be so simple. It is extremely difficult. I think
Yeah.
for me personally, you hit it out of bounds. It's a frustrating thing because used to you hit it out of bounds, and I think you made a great point. I mean, if your goal is to go out, have fun, you're learning the game, you're all these things. That's great. Hit the ball, go do go play the way that you want to play to learn how to play the game. As you really start getting competitive, because see, really, and we hadn't touched on this part just yet, but once you get into tournament play and you're playing your
Hmm.
scrambles, you're playing your thing, all of your little matches and your club matches and your little championships, things like that, it really adds up. And I think to
Oh yeah.
me, I know Brian has talked about it. I feel the same way because I know he and I we've talked about it. You and I we've talked about. I mean, if you're going to play the game, play it the right way,
That's right. That's
like it
right.
or not. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't go out on a baseball field, hit a foul ball, and go stand on second base and go, "Oh, got a double." You saw how far I hit that ball? Doesn't count. It's a foul ball,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? You
That's,
can't you
that's not
can't
how
do
that
that.
works.
You can't go out at a
Yeah.
kickball game and when the balls roll too, you can't try to kick it the opposite direction from everybody and just start running bases. It doesn't work that way. There's rules there for a reason, and whether you like it or
Yeah.
not, I mean that's the rule. And so for me, I've learned like I definitely it makes it more frustrating when you hit out of bounds. So you definitely really
Oh
have
yeah.
to try to focus and really work on making sure you're hitting the shots that you want to hit. I mean, whether it's a straight shot, draw, cut, all that stuff. You got to make sure that you're hitting it where you are. And if you don't, hey, for me, what I've learned is the next shot is really truly the one that counts. When you're
Yep.
sitting there on a
Yep.
par five, you hit your tee shot out of bounds, and now you're hitting four, and you're still having to lay your technically your second shot up, but it's your fourth shot. You better be smart. You got to know what you're doing because if not, you're easily walking away with a triple. Easily.
That's yeah, 100%. And that's kind of where, as far as us playing the way that we do now, I know no matter what course we go to, if I get up on the tee box and I see white stakes anywhere close to the fairway, I'm like, okay, there's out of bounds really close here. It
Yeah.
makes me be a little bit more conservative off the tee to
Mm-hmm.
help me. I mean, because there's a difference between hitting your second shot from the fairway and hitting your fourth shot from the fairway.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking from hitting a green in regulation to I'm
Yeah.
hitting this for par, on a
Yeah.
par four.
Yeah.
So, I know some people don't like it. Some people do. I think we've all learned to, enjoy it. I mean, here's the thing. I think a lot of people kind of get the wrong idea too of like, it's not that we're so competitive that we're like having these strict rules and
Yeah.
the four of us aren't having fun. I mean, we're
Right.
we're still having a great time,
Yeah.
but we're just it's one of those things that we want to make sure that everyone is keeping their legit score. And I will say this to anybody: if you come out there and you play golf with us, or you play these rules, which is like we keep saying these rules. I mean, these are just the actual rules of
Yeah.
golf. It's
Yeah.
how you play. And now, and granted, too, Brian he made a point of this the other day when we were talking about it. Um, we still do preferred lie. That's probably one of the only things that we
Yeah.
still do. Like if a ball is, because our home course, and I hate to say this, but I mean, a lot of their bunkers are pretty rocky. A
Yeah.
lot of rocks in those bunkers.
Right.
And I'm not going to sit there, and I know you're not going to sit there and damage a
No.
Vokey wedge
Listen,
with
as
rocks
much
in the
money
bunker.
as I saved up to buy the clubs that I do have, I've saved for years to buy these clubs. I am not clunking these things off of rocks. I'm just not. And so for me, give me a stroke penalty if that's what it takes. That's fine with me. I'll take the stroke penalty to keep, my clubs looking somewhat decent.
That's right. That's right. If a ball's on a root, move it.
Oh,
things like that.
No, I don't have a tour truck that I could just walk in and say, "Hey, grab me a 56 wedge." I kind of snap mine on a 3-inch high root over there. It's not going to happen. And I think, and that's the thing. Again, at the end of the day, we do it because we are competitive, but we want to hold each other to a standard. We want to hold each other accountable. It's not that we're better than anybody. It's not that we think that, we're just some golf uppity kind of people. We saw the rule. We're going to force the rule on each other because we're competitive and we're playing each other. When you're playing in tournaments, those are the rules, and that's the thing. That's the hard part though, is that we know the rule. A lot of other people don't know the rule. And so, but you can't tell if they're keeping the rules. Golf is a game of integrity. And I think at the end of the day, that's the thing that we've kind of learned, is that at the end of the day, what score I shoot, I have to go back and look at myself in the mirror and with integrity say, hit it out of bounds, and that's why, I'll give you another, for instance. There's been moments where, like I know I've called out on myself where maybe I'm addressing a putt, but I haven't fully addressed it yet, and I accidentally touched the ball. Or there's been moments where I have addressed the ball and I'm fully addressed and I accidentally bump it. I wasn't a stroke. I'm going to call it out on myself. And I've done that before.
Yeah.
And it's very frustrating because it's easy to look up and go, nobody saw that. Okay. Integrity sets in, and you have to say, look, I'm sorry. I just touched it. And a lot of times, like my, and y'all know my tick. Y'all know exactly what I do when I'm very frustrated. I'll take my golf club and I'll just kind of start, like, not like beating myself, but it's just a little firm kind of taps on the back, I call it. And I'll definitely do that because it's like those are little simple mental errors that I shouldn't be making.
Oh yeah.
But it's the game of golf, that's the point of the game.
Yeah, I know. You're absolutely right. And I think for us too, it's kind of like what you said, is whatever score we finish with after 18, like we walk off 18 green, we can look and go, yeah, that's the legit score that I shot. And because I would, as much, and we talked about this on the last episode, how I've been very, very close to breaking 80 and shooting in the 70s these last couple of weeks. As much as I could easily just, say like, oh, that putt was a gimme, whatever. And by the end of it, have a 78 or 79. But there's no way now that I could do that and manipulate, one hole on the course and go to sleep well at night knowing, I'm telling everybody I shot 79, but I really didn't. But that's why keeping my actual legit score and shooting an 80 and 81, it just, I'm like, I'm right there. I can do it. Like I can do it. So just not to cheat yourself, but just go out there, have a good time. And so I wanted to clear that up because we had some interactions with some people. But if you want to go out and enjoy the game of golf, how you want to go and do it, man, by all means.
Absolutely. Go play.
I will say this. If you come and play golf with the ForeBros, you're playing this way, and it's going to do one or two things. It's either going to humble you or you're going to have a good time. So,
and if all else, listen, we can always break the cameras back out. That generally humbles you very quickly.
That'll get people going too. Yeah, you bust cameras out, and they're like, man, this is a different feeling.
Yeah.
So, but anyways,
oh boy.
Yeah, it's
that was just conviction. That's the other thing. Like, and again, like I said, it's not a bashing, and I mean. And I know most of the people, they're just kind of cutting around and having fun. I mean, it's not a bashing of anything. It's, if anything, like I remember when I first read it and I read the rule, I sent it to Brian and I was like, bro, we got it wrong. We got this thing wrong. Like we're not playing right. Yeah. And like at the same time, it felt like somebody just gut punched me because if you're truly wanting to get better and you're truly tracking your score, gimmies are not the way that you're going to track your score. Because that 3-foot putt, we've seen it. We've played on courses, and we don't have to name names, but we've played on courses where we've played a 4-man scramble, and all 4 putts did something different from the exact same location. So you cannot go off of gimmies. That just doesn't happen.
No.
Your out of bounds thing. I mean, that again, foot wedges, things like that. Like you have to be real. Now, of course, we also know this in the PGA Tour, but it's PGA rules, and so we want to play by the rules, whether they hurt us or not. Right. Whether it's a difference between shooting a 89 or a 97. It's just it is what it is. You take that shot and you keep on moving, but. Golf's fun. But yeah, if you're just playing and you're learning and you're having fun, I would say this. I think anybody who does listen, if you're playing golf and even if you're in the learning stage, start working on it now. Start making yourself really focus in on hitting those tight shots. And I think at K row number 3, you got houses down the right. I mean, it's a very tight shot. You got trees down your left. Really think about it. I mean, you hit it right. You hit it in those yards,
it's out of bounds.
I will say this, me personally, I will not go back to the tee. I'd rather just go to the fairway because chances are my second ball is going to go right out of bounds.
Hit the 4 shot. And I think when you out of bounds and take your medicine, hit that 4 shot. And then now your goal is try to at least save double.
Yeah.
Like don't make any worse than double after that. If you can somehow miraculously get up and down for bogey from wherever you are, fantastic.
Absolutely.
But odds are you're not. So try to make double. But that's the thing to remember. White stakes means out of bounds. Red stakes mean hazard.
That's right.
Red stakes can help you. We had case in point. We got invited. I remember that one time when we were playing at Glenarvan.
Yeah.
And we kind of had a blind, you know what hole I'm talking about. We had that blind tee shot. And come to find out, you hit it in a hazard. We didn't know it was there.
I know.
But thankfully, I've never seen someone hit such a straight drive down the middle of the fairway and there be hazard in the middle of the fairway.
And here's what people don't realize. Like with me, which my scores lately have not been proving this, but like when I'm playing good, like I'm one of those, Brandon will tell you, I hit a tee shot. The moment I hit it, if I know it's good, I don't watch it. I just pick the tee up off the ground. And I just walk away. And that was a shot that day. I mean, just absolutely.
We all walked away.
Yeah. Straight down the middle. Everybody's like, all right, go get in the cart. We get down there. There is no ball in sight. We find out fairway is sloping right to left down into a little ravine, kind of it was a pond, but it was kind of partially dried up. Our second shot in the hazard is at chest high, and you have to baseball swing. God, it was so frustrating.
It was like swinging like this.
So frustrating.
Yeah. That was
but
tough.
Thankfully, yes.
Glenarvan.
Where you were going, thankfully, that was a hazard. That was, that would have been brutal.
That was brutal. So hazards you can play out of if you have a shot. If not, it's just a 1 stroke. But then out of bounds is the 2 stroke. So I would encourage anybody, if you're going out playing golf this week, try it. Try to play the actual like legit rules. If you hit it out of bounds, hit 3 off the tee or take it parallel from where it is and hit 4 from the fairway and just see what your score is. It's probably going to be frustrating at first, but once you kind of get that idea of, playing conservative off the tee, because I would say there's 2 different types of people with driver. They either mash it or they're wild with it. And, if you can bump down a few clubs and just get it straight in the fairway, you're going to save yourself a lot of out of bounds shots and things like that. So, but as far as switching gears here, as far as speaking about golf, I want to talk about a pet peeve of mine. And Matt, I think this is probably a pet peeve of yours. When we talk about tournament play and stuff, specifically in the local realm of fundraising tournaments and things like that, I want to talk about the aspect of a 4-man scramble. These things have to be the most pencil whipped, rigged moments ever. We have played in a lot of 4-man scrambles together. I don't think we've ever won one because I think we're the only one. Here's the thing that I've learned about 4-man scrambles. If you play by the rules of golf, you will always lose a 4-man scramble. These guys, I kid you not, for all of you that are listening, the last 4-man scramble we played in, the conditions of the course were not great. They were not high scoring conditions.
No, they were not.
There was no type of scratch golfers out there.
No.
And yet, there was a team that came in and shot 20 under. I am sorry, but there is no 4 amateur golfers that are going to come together in South Georgia and be that good in terrible course conditions and shoot 20. You just can't.
Mulligans.
That was the other thing.
And no mulligans.
You cannot convince me that happened. I'm telling you, 4-man scrambles. I get it. They're a money grab for fundraisers because it's so easy to do it. But I'm telling you, if you want to do a legit competitive, by the rules fundraising golf event, you got to do a 3-man scramble. Now, do they take 7 hours longer? Yes, but the scores are more legit than a 4-man scramble. I don't know. 4-man scrambles bother the mess out of me.
And here's the thing. Okay, so from a, I'm trying to think where I want to go with this because I'm the same way. Okay, so a 4-man scramble.
I'm getting on my soapbox here.
No, it's okay. I'm here for it. So a 4-man scramble, at the end of the day, yes, is a good fundraiser. I mean, they have been proven in themselves. And of course, yes, once the tournament starts, money's there, fundraisers happen. That's great. Everything's good. Scaling it back to a 3-man scramble, I think gives you the ability to run 2 teams per hole. Yes, it does take a little bit longer, but now you have essentially 5 sets of eyes watching each shot. Totally different ball game at this point. So now when and I would I'm going to take it a step further. I think you should run a 3-man scramble, 2 teams per hole, each team keeping the opposing team score. Now,
well, that's usually what happens. That,
right.
Like,
well,
it
doesn't always
one person
happen.
from each team ride together.
Well, what I've seen, because what I've seen even back home is they'll do a 3-man scramble. They'll start off on the same hole, but what ends up happening is well, this team gets up to the green. Well, they just go ahead and putt. They just go on to the next tee box, and therein lies the same problem. You know, to me, I think, like, I look back. Well, you go back another tournament that we played in. I mean, an absolute torrential downpour. We're standing there on the green. We end up.
I know which one you're talking about.
We went live from the bathroom house out there on the golf course. It is flooding rain. All the greens are completely covered, and we come in, and I mean, just there's just one team.
I think every team had nine holes left.
Yeah,
like we were only halfway through the round.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to remember which hole we started at because we were on hole 4. No,
we were on hole 5 when they.
No, we were on hole 5. Hole 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this team comes in with just this audacious score that they just supposedly they were able.
They said they birdied.
They were able to outplay
every hole
everybody.
after the rain.
Yeah. Outplayed everybody where every green was holding water. Every green was holding water. And you're going to tell me that all of a sudden you just struck a ticket on the birdie train? No, get out of here.
Yeah.
Get out of here. I don't believe that.
I don't know if I could find it, but if I could find the video, there's a video of us at that tournament that Matt's talking about putting on the 9th green. And it was probably a 10-foot downhill putt for birdie. And we're putting through water. Like you can see the water coming up on the green because it's raining so hard.
Yeah.
And we had mulligans. And
yeah. So see, so
I think we putted 6 or 7 times.
Yeah, let everybody know. So generally, when we play a scramble, I always putt first, just because I'm not the best putter of our 4, but I also don't mind being the guy who. Yeah, I don't mind being the guy who misses it. I mean, occasionally I get on a little hot streak and I can make a few. But I remember hitting that putt. I could still see it, hit the putt, and it felt like I hit it like a 3-wood swing. And it went like 3-4 feet in front of me. Just water just sucked it down to the ground.
Not even close.
And it's like, okay, well then I think normally we go me, Andy, you, and then Brian. And then Andy gets up. Andy barely hits it past mine. You barely hit it past yours. I think Brian hits it the same distance as you. We got to turn around and stand that putt again, hit it. You know, what we should have done was we should have had somebody like sweeping water away with a towel. Yeah, I don't think it would have worked. Or get like a sand trap rake. But dude, that is.
But you see videos all the time of, like, you know, I've seen videos. I think Barstool's posted some videos before of, you know, the 4-man scrambles of guys coming in shooting a 48 or shooting a 49. It was like, come on, like, how can you as a 4-man team walk out of there after taking everybody's money and taking all the prizes and go, we did a good thing today by, you know, literally cheating in front of everybody.
They're probably the first vehicles out of the parking lot too.
gotta be. But man, the 4-man scramble, it absolutely absolutely kills me. But
yeah.
so, anyways, that's just me getting on my soapbox. So,
Yeah.
But staying with golf, actually talking about some better golf. We had made some picks about the RBC Canadian Open that wrapped up today.
Yeah.
Shout out Robert McIntyre. He won 16 under. He played very well. All 4 rounds went 64, 66, 66, 68, and to finish 16 under par. Really good. One of the highlights I think I had picked Rory McIlroy to either win. He was on fire today.
Yeah.
He shot a final round. What was it? 64.
Yeah. He shot 600 today. Which, I mean, hey, listen,
shot final
Tom
round
Kim.
64.
Tom Kim, he's one of the ones that I was kind of pulling for. I mean, he fired off a 664 as well, but what killed him was that first round 70. But I mean, listen, dude come back and fought hard. I mean, he went 70, 68, 65. I mean, every day he just progressively gotten better. Victor Perez literally shot the exact same thing. He just happened to one up him on the third round to shoot a 14 under total. I think with Robert McIntyre, we were talking about it before we started filming. I mean, the guy shot a 2 under final round to win this tournament. So that tells you how good he's played. To only have to shoot 2 under and still come out with a $1.6 million, bag. Pretty good. Yeah. Pretty good, Robert. Shout out to you. Help us out.
The top Canadian, being that it was the Canadian Open, was I believe it was Corey Connors. Yeah, finished solo 6th, 12 under. He played pretty good.
He did.
The Canadians for the President's Cup that's coming up, man, they're going to have a very solid team. They're going to be strong. So
I think so. I mean,
shout out to them.
So Corey shot, finished 12 under total, and then literally it goes Corey Connors, Maverick McNeely, and then Mackenzie Hughes, who's been playing a really good season this year. I mean, 69, 64, came back with a 70 today. Yeah. So he had a little bit of a flub today, but I mean, he's still playing good.
Yeah, a lot of good Canadians playing some good golf right now. Another thing to keep in mind, I'm sure we'll talk about this in later episodes coming up, but literally less than 2 weeks away, have the next major, have the U.S. Open happening, I believe in Pinehurst. So that's gonna be a good one.
I know.
Let me get some early thoughts there. I know we'll talk about it more in some later episodes, but got any early hot takes or early thoughts on a U.S. Open prediction?
I don't, man. I really don't. I mean, even just looking at this leaderboard, I think kind of had a little bit of a new name in Ryan Fox, who kind of started out hot, shot a 66 and then came back with a 64. But if you look at the final standings, just a few names down, my man Joel Damon came in tied for 10th at the end of this.
I saw that.
Dude played good.
I saw that.
I mean, 67, 65, 69, and then finished with a 70 today. I don't know, man. I think there's so many of these younger guys that are starting to really hit the tour, and they're running fast. I mean, even just scanning through this, I mean, there's names that they're still new. I mean, like a Chandler Phillips, it's nothing against them. It's just they're new to me, and I tend to watch golf a pretty good bit. A Jacob Bridgman, Sam Stevens, Carson Young. All these guys are new, but I mean they're playing really good. I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be tough.
I know this is like a super hot take. I don't know. I say this now. I don't know if he's even qualified for it or not. But someone who was so close to winning the U.S. Open last year, who I would love to see just win one major in his career, and that's Ricky Fowler. He was so close last year. He was in the final pairing with Wyndham Clark, and Wyndham just had a better Sunday than Ricky did.
Yeah.
But Ricky is right there. And, I don't know much about Ricky's game if Pinehurst sets up well for his game or not. So they're playing the number 2 course, the very famous, Pinehurst number 2. So, I think it'll be, I don't know. It's one of those, the U.S. Opens, I would say the U.S. Open and the Open is always one of those 2 majors, those final 2 majors of the year. They're kind of a toss up.
Yeah.
As far as who could be the guy. So
yeah,
I would love to see Ricky do it. I'm always a Jordan Spieth fan, but it's so hard to root for Jordan anymore. But just some early hot takes there for the U.S. Open. Tournament. They have one tournament in between, but
I tell you, somebody who, so of course, Ricky's always kind of been right there on the cusp of, I think he's played a lot of good golf, but he's been on the cusp of great golf. And I think, I mean,
he's right there.
when you get to that level, I mean, what people don't realize is, I mean, that level is so small. I mean, that line is so small between really good golf and great golf.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know, and I'm like you, I'm still waiting to see who all is qualifying there. I tell you, somebody who, he's in Sweden, is Ludvig Aberg.
Yeah.
He's been playing good.
He's playing good.
I think of those, Akshay, I think of him. There's a lot of those young guys that I would love to see. I don't know. Like I could definitely see the Ricky Fowler winning. I'll be honest with you, I'm not personally a Wyndham Clark fan. So I mean, last year he just happened to stick it out right there to the very end. Part of me kind of would love for kind of an older guy to come back and win it, like just something crazy. Like I don't know. Like I think of like a Keegan Bradley or somebody like that who's been around for a while, and he just happens to have that tournament that just for some reason he just played lights out. I think it'd be really cool. But I always root for those really young guys too, though. They're trying to make their mark on this game for sure.
Well, speaking of the old guys, do you think, two questions. One, do you think Tiger plays, and do you think Tiger makes the cut?
If he plays, I don't think he makes the cut. Man, listen, we're talking Tiger Woods.
We're seeing the end of an era.
Yeah, we're talking Tiger Woods. And honestly, as much as I would love to watch the man play in real life, like personally, in person, I mean, to me, I think he should have hung it up a while back. I think, especially, listen, after that last Masters win, to me personally, I thought, that's man, when you what a way to end it. He's just, I mean, he's always going to be Tiger, I mean, and if Tiger wants to play, Tiger plays, that's kind of the deal. But at the same time, man, I mean, the man's body has been through so much, number one. Number two, people really, I don't think, have really a knowledge of how much swing, like how many swings these guys have on their bodies. Number two, I think there's just so much pressure around when Tiger plays. When Tiger plays, like there's just the atmosphere changes and things like that. And I think it's one of those things where, like, I'm ready to see him pass the torch to somebody. Like, it's time to. You've made your mark, and you've made an incredible mark on the game of golf. I mean, at some point, Jack quit playing. At some point, Arnold Palmer quit playing. If nothing else, hey, go join the senior tour. Go beat the snot out of those guys.
Go light it up there.
Yeah,
I don't know.
So I don't look for him. I don't look for him to play this major. I really don't. If he does, I would be shocked. Because the last two that he's played, he's withdrew from, right?
Withdrew or didn't make the cut. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, it'll be tough for sure, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. We got, like I said, you got the U.S. Open coming up in 2 weeks. Rory's playing some good golf, so who knows? He might come and make some noise here, but we'll see. A lot of things going on in the golf world, so we'll continue to stay tuned, and I'm sure we'll have some more episodes talking about U.S. Open and stuff as we get closer to that as well. One of the other stories I wanted to hit on tonight is kind of a hometown story. So for those of you that maybe know or don't know, we have a guy by the name of Hurston Waldrep, is from our hometown here of Cairo, Georgia, and actually had a chance to have Hurston in my youth group when I first moved to Cairo and was working at the church that I was at. So Hurston he's a great kid, went on to play some college ball, I believe at Southern Miss, and then came to the University of Florida, then got drafted by the Braves. Well, just in the last recent days, he kind of got to AA and then got called up to AAA in the Atlanta Braves system, and got his first start Sunday night or Sunday afternoon for the Gwinnett Stripers, and had a really good kind of line there. He went 6 innings pitched. He had 5 hits, gave up 3 runs, had 1 walk, but had 11 strikeouts. So, and I think that was what did we say, Matt? I think that was a career high for him, is 11 strikeouts.
What I read from the MLB said it was his career high. And listen, here's the thing. He only allowed 3 runs through 6 innings. So, I mean, throwing the ball extremely well. Yeah. It's unfortunate that even after 11 strikeouts, they still lose the game.
I know. They still lost 3-1, which is crazy.
They I guess their bats just wasn't there. But no, I mean, to step out in your first start in AAA, you're at that, you've taken another step in the career that you have dreamed about for years. Lots of pressure on the line, all these things, and then you come out and you throw up 11 Ks. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be much longer. You see Hurston up in the Braves program, especially as much as the Braves have been battling injury and things like that. They've been kind of struggling with their lineup and their roster. So who knows? You might see Hurston up there quicker than you think. But he had really good AA numbers, and that's a really good outing for AAA to go up there and to do that with 11 strikeouts. I think even with a loss, I think a manager in that situation looks at that and goes, "Man, you gave us 6 innings, only gave up 3 runs, and had 11 strikeouts." I mean, that's a tip of the cap there. And man, way to go for it. It was, I would think as a coach, you look at Hurston and go, "We just didn't back you up with the bats, man. We just didn't hit the ball for you."
Sure.
And so great outing. So hopefully he continues with that. And so for all of you Braves fans, for all of you Cairo fans, all you Hurston fans, be looking for him. I really think he's going to be a big name there for the Braves, and I think he'll get called up sooner rather than later. It's so cool, though, Matt, to see those kind of hometown stories and see, guys that you know personally or guys that, went to school with or, shared hometown with to go. I think you got a buddy of yours that is still currently playing for the Yankees.
Yeah, so we had a guy in Slocum where I came from. He's a year or 2 behind me. His dad was actually and still is a longtime pastor in the town. Their family, they had 3 boys, and man, those boys have hearts of gold. And so it's one of those things like when before I even say any of this, as a Christian watching how God has blessed this young man and just seeing his heart first before he ever even stepped onto the diamond in a professional game has been incredible. Kid was, dude, I mean, throwing the ball like I've never seen before, even when I was in high school. You're facing a lot like where I come from, a lot of low to mid 80 throwers at best. I mean, at best. And here's a kid slinging 90 like it's nothing. I mean, just tall, lanky. It looks like by the time he releases the ball, he's halfway to the home plate. Like it's just, it was unreal. Like this downhill throw. And, just a cool story. He started getting looks. And of course, colleges were looking at him. Scouts started coming out to little old Slocum, Alabama, known for their tomatoes. And the short version is Clay got his diploma for graduation, literally went home and signed and was drafted by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And he never went to college, went straight into the Pirates organization. Of course, they did like they normally do, just kind of up, down. Clay had to really get adjusted. Here's a high school kid. He just graduated high school, and he's thrust into this, and there's a lot that takes place. Of course, had to go through surgeries, things like that. But the Pirates just really, to me personally, I don't think they could have. They never were able to develop him the way he needed to be. And so he'd have moments where it would be like a quick call. Hey, come up, play this game. Hey, come dress real fast, and then send him back. Come back. Let's dress this one. Okay, send him back. And then just out of the blue, one day, he gets the call, and Pittsburgh trades him to the New York Yankees. The cool thing about the story is that's all the kid's ever dreamed about is wearing the pinstripes. And here it is. God's got full circle story, brings him to the Pirates, and for a while, from a lot of people, dubbed one of the best relief pitchers in the major leagues. I mean, he even just, we were talking before we started recording, he got the save. He got the save just today or yesterday, kind of came in and finished it. So it's a really cool thing when you have small towns like this, where everybody knows, you go to Slocum, everybody's going to know the name Clay Holmes. You come to Cairo. Yeah. What's cool about Cairo is now you've got 2. You've got Emerson Hancock, who's in Seattle. he's having some good ball there too. And, and he's had some ups and downs, but had an outstanding career at Georgia, gets drafted. And now, here's Hurston. What's funny is, as you were talking, I come across this little article, and I think it's funny to kind of show you what Hurston did in his game. Was this guy, let's see who wrote this. Brendan Sampson. This is what he said about Hurston. He said, 2 batters into Hurston Waldrep's first AAA start of the season, it looked like it would be a day to forget. That's not what you want written about you. Like, just 2 batters in, and it's like, let's forget this day. Literally, the next statement is 5 innings later. That could not have been further from the truth. This kid just came out and just started slinging it. And, it makes you proud. Like, you and I, we're not from Cairo, I've never had the chance to personally meet him. Maybe one day we'll get that chance. You had the chance to have him in your youth ministry, and it's just so cool. I think about, I think another one who, hopefully we'll see in that draft here coming up very soon is Garrett Gaines, another local kid who, I had the privilege of having him in the youth ministry at the First Church when we got to Cairo, and actually saw him today at lunch. And, just to watch him, I had a chance to go and watch him pitch a few times over at Troy, and man, the difference between him throwing in high school versus throwing in college has been incredible to watch. But you're rooting for these guys so hard, harder, of course, than they will ever know. But man, it is. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's good to see these guys, make it out of the hometown, and where I'm come from in Central Florida in Lakeland, seeing athletes come out and go to the pros. I mean, it happens more often than you see it in in towns like South Georgia or Alabama, things like that. So you kind of get used to it, seeing good athletes. So, but in order to, for us to see a really good athlete come out of a Cairo or come out of a Slocum, that's a big deal. It's something worth celebrating, because you don't see it very often. And Hurston, Garrett's a great kid. Hurston's a great kid. I have a lot of respect for Hurston, even too playing for the Florida Gators.
Bless him.
Anybody that puts on the orange and blue.
Well, I thought that was probably like a down step in his career.
But it was the best thing that happened to him.
Well, I mean,
it's the best thing that happened to him.
You think? I mean, atmospheres. No matter which college you go to, the atmosphere and the way in which you can be developed. I mean, that's one thing that I see in Garrett, and and I don't get to see all of his games that he gets to pitch and things like that. But again, it's in the developmental stages where, I mean, he's able to get the training that he wasn't able to get anywhere else. Yeah. And it looks like it's going to pay dividends for him. I'm excited. I'm excited for him. I'm excited for his family. Anytime a kid can grow up with this one dream, and that's the only dream they've ever had. And to see, every day you're getting to live that dream out. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. So shout out to Hurston, man. Shout out to Garrett as well. Shout out to Emerson. Those 3 guys, really good at what they do. All 3 pitchers really good at their craft. So you 3 guys, just keep working. For those of you that remember, when Matt and I had our podcast during COVID, we had Emerson on just days before he got drafted, which is so cool to even think about that.
Because I think
nothing
we were can be
Emerson's
said.
First. Yeah, I think Emerson. I think we were Emerson's first interview before he got drafted, which is so cool. I think I remember asking him, hey, have you ever been on a podcast? And he was like, no. So that's cool for us to say we were his first podcast. So I'm sure he's been on plenty since, but
we gave him a good start.
That's right. So shout out to those 3 guys, man.
Yeah.
Interesting and excited to see where their careers go and what happens. But I would be shocked if you don't see a Hurston there in the big show before too long. I mean, he was
the Braves number 2, number 3 prospect.
High. Yeah, he was high up there. I can't remember how high it was, but it was high, and he shot up the ranks real quick, and then kind of, like you said, like they normally do, have their little ups and downs in AA, but really good start in AAA. So excited to see,
100%
kind of where he ends up afterwards.
And he by the way, number 2 prospect for the Braves. That's
Number 2
incredible.
prospect. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Another recap thing that we need to do is for those of you that are UFC fans, we were able to watch UFC over the weekend, Saturday night. Great card, UFC 302. Of course, the main event being Islam versus Poirier. Great fight. I think everybody thought that main event was going to end rather quickly. Islam was like a minus 675 favorite going into the fight, and it was, as long as Dustin kept the fight on the on the feet and not on the ground, he would have a really good chance of winning. And from the start of the very first round, Islam came in, shot in, got him on the ground, and it was like, oh no, this is going to be over quick. Like you said, this is going to be a night to forget, like real fast.
Yeah.
And Dustin Poirier, man, he fought back, and Islam just kind of did some things that only high-level professional grappler MMA guys know how to do. He caught him with a crazy, like the way he grabbed his leg and spun him around and was able to get onto him. Ended up defeating Dustin Poirier by submission due to a Darce choke in like literally 2 minutes and 42 seconds of the final round number 5. Like they almost went the distance. And I honestly, the crazy thing, and feel free for those of you that watched UFC 302 and that watched those fights that night, one of the things that we thought what was so crazy was how the judges were scoring the fights. Like, for example, the co-main event was split decision. Sean Strickland he defeated Paulo Costa by split decision. Everybody that was watching it in the room that I was in had Sean Strickland, like had him 3-0 in the first 3 rounds. Like he should have won easily by unanimous decision, and he won by split decision. And if you even go back and watch when they announce it, Sean Strickland's like looking around like, split decision? Like it wasn't even close. Like it didn't even look like Sean Strickland had even broke a sweat throughout the whole fight. So the entire, at least for the main card, the entire scoring was just so weird. It was so weird. So, but it was cool to see Sean Strickland get the win. He had a nice little shout out to Donald Trump there. Donald Trump was in attendance, so he had some things to say, which I kind of knew. Sean Strickland's kind of that guy. He has no filter. So he's going to say whatever he wants to say. But
I had no idea that fight was 25 minutes long. It was a 25-minute fight.
Yeah, it went the distance. Yeah, 5-minute rounds.
Like I didn't get a chance to watch it, so like I had to do a lot of reading and of course looking at social media things like that. I had no idea that it went the full 25. Like that's crazy to me.
It was a good fight. Sean Strickland's just one of those guys. He just kind of walked Paulo Costa down the whole way and just never gave him any room to breathe. Never gave him any room to try to do anything. Paulo Costa did fight back though in the 4th and 5th round and made it pretty exciting. But Sean Strickland kind of already did the damage. So won by split decision there. Again, Islam defeating Dustin Poirier to a Darce choke, which is, if you know anything about MMA, that Darce choke is nasty. Kevin Holland defeated Michael. I'm not even going to say his last name, but
say good luck.
That was
Michael Lowe.
Yeah, that fight was wild. For those of you that watched that too, he defeated him by an arm bar. Anybody that watched that, Michael had punched Kevin Holland, caught him flush on the chin, and knocked him down. And even Kevin Holland in his interview, he said, I don't know how we ended up on the ground, but we ended up on the ground. It's like, we ended up on the ground because you almost got knocked out. Like, that's what happened. And Michael didn't get his arm out of the way where he should have. And then before you know it, it was kind of weird because there was a lot of people that thought Michael didn't tap, but he definitely did. I am for certain. I haven't seen any reports out yet, but I am pretty sure Kevin Holland broke his arm. You can see it in the replay. Like he's cranking on this arm bar and he doesn't tap. And yeah, we're over there just like squirming the whole time. We're like, just tap.
Yeah, no.
And I think he did tap, but it was more of like I'm in so much pain, I don't really know what I'm doing. So but those final 3 fights, Kevin Holland, Sean Strickland, and Islam, those are, shout out to them. It was a good fight. Another huge card coming up at the end of June, UFC 303. That's headlined by Conor McGregor versus Michael Chandler, International Fight Week. That is taking place in Dublin, Ireland. That's going to be insane.
That will be.
With Conor McGregor being from Ireland, Dublin, Ireland, and they're fighting in Dublin, Ireland. That place is going to be rocking. And who knows what's going to happen there with Michael Chandler and
what do you
Conor McGregor.
think?
But UFC 303 is coming. Oh gosh, man, it's so early to tell. See, the thing with Conor McGregor, he's had what 4 or 5 returns to
Yeah.
UFC, and
Now he's made a
I don't
movie, and
know.
so he's coming back now after the movie's over.
He doesn't need to fight. That's the problem. The man
No.
has so much money. He does not need to fight.
Yeah.
As much as, I when Conor McGregor was first rolling through the ranks, I knew as soon as Conor McGregor fought Floyd Mayweather, that was over. Once he got
Yeah.
that check for fighting Floyd Mayweather, that was it for him.
Easily.
He was never going to take MMA. He wasn't going to take it seriously after that. He obviously he had some success immediately after the Floyd Mayweather fight, but then after that, once that money settled in, I mean, it was over.
Steadily
Dustin Poirier predicted after his fight that Conor McGregor can knock out Michael Chandler. Now I don't know if it's for a knockout, but I don't know. I would love to see Conor McGregor win. That would be great for the sport. But I don't know. It's so hard to tell. I don't know, but there's a lot of great fights coming up, and we'll hit that more in detail as we get closer to the end of June for UFC 303. Again, that's gonna be a great card. So, just wrapping up here, we're getting ready in just a few short days to go play another round of golf like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
I want to give me your because the other two aren't here. We'll talk about them for a little bit. So you got me, and you got Matt, Brian, and Andy. We try to play golf middle of the week, and we try to just take at least one day of the week in the morning to kind of have to ourselves and play golf. Don't talk about work. Just go and have a good time.
Yeah.
And we've been doing that now for, about a little over a year now. A lot of people think we play golf every day, especially when we started filming. People thought, these guys just do nothing but play golf. It's literally once a week. It's only ever been once a week. And that's probably all it'll ever be is once a week.
Yeah.
But we're coming up. So what's your early predictions for this week? Now, mind you, Brian and Andy won't see this until this podcast comes out. So they'll see it before we play, but didn't know what you thought. I guess it depends on where we play too, but what's your early predictions for Brian and Andy as far as their scores?
Andy, I'm gonna say this because I mean we're all friends and we do a really good job of just like we talk a lot of smack to each other. But I'm gonna tell you, Andy Joyner, and I've said this before, and this is my honest truth. I think Andy is kind of what we talk about with Ricky Fowler, except I mean Andy's not Ricky Fowler. Let's be honest, but Andy's right there on that cusp line. Andy Joyner. Listen, if you don't know anything about Andy can hit a golf ball a mile long. Dude can just hit it
a long way.
And he's been playing really good golf. The difference with Andy is like when Andy is carefree, he's a threat. There's no way around it. Yeah. When he has some bad moments and things like that, which we all do, then of course golf becomes a mental game. But I'm gonna tell you, man, I look for Andy. This may be a hot take in some people's eyes. I look for Andy to break the 80 barrier sometime this year. Truly do.
Okay. Yeah.
Truly do. Hot take there.
I think he can. I think he can. I think
Brian knows this, and I'd say it even if he was here. Brian is he's been struggling lately, and I think his struggle
we talked about it on the last podcast.
Yeah. His struggle is he like all of us can get, YouTube's our number one friend. Spend a lot of time watching videos on YouTube, trying this, trying that. This doesn't fit right. Something's not right. Go to YouTube. And I think sometimes like what Brian's saying, and Brian will tell you too, is that it's a lot more mental than anything. Brian can play golf. Brian's got a short game like nobody's business when he's on it, man. It's not fair. Like generally when Brian has a wedge in his hand around the green, like he's about to do something just absolutely crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's once he gets whatever that little funk that he is in, once he kind of gets out of that, he's going to go on a tear again, and he's going to do what he does, which is very consistent. Brian's one of those, if you've never played golf around him, he is a back nine. He's a back nine warrior. You'll slip back around on the front nine, and he'll come back on that back nine, and he's, we had this little thing where we'll just make this statement, just hanging around, and that's what Brian does. He does it so well, and it's so frustrating.
When we used to play in the competitions and filming our videos and stuff, you guys can never see it on the camera, but just slightly off the camera, if myself or Matt or Andy had any form of a lead going to the back nine, you would just look over and Brian would just be over there smirking behind the camera because he knew what was coming. He knew that we were going to absolutely just derail ourselves and we were just going to melt and crumble on the back nine. And he would always just be right there and he would put in his little putt for par and he'd pick it out of the hole and be like, just hanging around, just hanging around. And before you know it, you're on the 18th tee box and you're down 3 shots to Brian. And you're like, how did this happen? Like, how could this have possibly happened? He's right there just hanging around. So Brian will figure it out. I mean,
so I say all that.
He's tough on himself, but
yeah, I say all that to say this. They're going to get the brakes beat off of them. That's all there is to it. And we're going to beat them like a drum.
Yeah, they're going down. They're going down. They don't
stand a chance.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to just be hanging around in 3rd and 4th place this week. No, I do.
When we get all 4 of us, on the podcast, we'll talk about our recent scramble events and things like that. But they don't stand a chance this Wednesday.
No, I tell you, man, I don't know. Like I get to a point where I'm really, I think I've played enough golf now to where like it's the smallest little details that I'm starting to really, I don't know, like it's so crazy. Used to I could tell you exactly what I did, why I did it, what I did wrong, and now it's all kind of becoming a little bit foggy to me. And I've not been playing good golf lately, and I just, it's kind of one of those things where it's like I've been borderline saying, you know what, maybe I just need to take a little bit of a break because for some reason it's not swinging right. I mean, I want to hit a draw and I hit a cut out, and the next shot I want to hit a cut, hit a draw. I mean, it's like nothing that I want to do is actually happening anymore. And but we're still grinding. We're still finding a way. You know, I didn't get to play this last week, and I think sometimes those little breaks are good for me. It gives me a chance. My big thing now is I just wish I had a chance to be able to go and spend a little time and actually practice. But I want to practice on like a really good practice range and spend some time doing some stuff.
That's the thing. We're so hard on ourselves, and yet we only play once a week. Like, we have these such high expectations for ourselves, and we forget, you know, like we only play once a week. And like I get so hard on myself. I'm like, man, I'm shooting 80. I'm shooting 81. I'm so close to breaking 80 and shooting in the 70s. And I'm like, well, I'm only playing once a week. I probably could have broke 80 weeks ago if I was playing 2 or 3 times a week. You know.
Yeah.
But
or if you didn't play the out of bounds rule.
Or if I didn't play the out of bounds rule, we just played casual golf. Yeah, absolutely. But so we'll see. I always look forward to Wednesday mornings getting able to play and go. So we always try to figure out where we're playing. I have no clue where we're going, so I leave that up to the travel team, and then we'll go and go from there. So, well, hey, shout out to all of you for making it this far in the podcast. Thank you for watching episode 2 of season 1 of the ForeBros podcast. We will be back again. Today is Monday, and we will be back Friday with another episode. So you start your week with the ForeBros, and you get to end your week with the ForeBros. As far as asking me who's going to be on the podcast on Friday, I have no clue. I don't know. I couldn't tell you because one day it's me and Brian. The next day it's me and Matt. And so if the pattern stays correct, it might just be me and Andy Friday. Who knows? There might be 3 of us. Might be all 4 of us. But I promise you a day is coming when all 4 of us are on this podcast. 4. And when that day comes, you better watch out. You better watch out. All right. So
that's right.
Shout out to all of you. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. You can now listen and watch us on YouTube, where you're probably watching right now, or you can watch us over on Spotify. You just type in ForeBros Podcast, and we're on Spotify as well. So follow us on there. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Share the video. Share the podcast. Follow us on Facebook. We're there as well. We're on Instagram. We're all over the place. We'll link all those things below. Like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on Friday.
And let me interject this. Put a comment on something you'd like for us to talk about. Maybe you have a question. Maybe there's something you want us to cover. Let us know. Put it in the comments. We'll, maybe you have a debate that you want us to debate about. Who knows? Whatever it is.
Yeah. We're all competitive about debates.
That's right.
Well, yeah. Let us know.
But now listen, if you put it in the comments, your name will come out. So just be ready. It's going to happen.
Better make an anonymous Facebook account or something.
You got that right.
Don't want us.
Oh man.
Don't want us to call you out.
But it's always fun, dude.
Thank y'all so much. Yep. Always a great time. Maddie, I enjoyed it, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
See you guys.
All right, see you.